Diplomats and UN officials have come here to listen to testimonies of people in the Jenin refugee camp. They have listened to difficult stories from Palestinians saying that they had to leave their homes because of the Israeli assault that took place for 2 days. They've heard also about the pain, the trauma, the civilians who have been targeted by the Israeli forces. And joining me here to talk more about that is the EU representative in Palestine, Mr. Sven Von Burgsdorff.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Sven, what do you take from the testimonies that you've heard? Is there anything new?
Well, this is the largest military invasion in the occupied West Bank ever since the Second Intifada ended. It's more than 20 years ago that in 2002 a similar invasion has taken place. It's the first time that massive airstrikes have taken place and affected an area populated by civilians. You know that this refugee camp hosts 14,000 people on a 0.4 square kilometers, one of the most densely populated areas in Palestine. If you use airstrikes, you accept collateral damage in the Palestinian population. So our critique towards Israel, the occupying power, was the lack of proportionality when it came to using military weapon system. That's the first thing. Secondly, we criticized there was no distinction made, apparently, between militant factions and civilians. And that was impossible because if you go with massive military equipment, you cannot make this distinction. Thirdly, we criticized that during the operation, humanitarian access was severely impeded, if not made impossible, for medical services, for ambulances to take care and accommodate the injured and bring them to hospitals. Even hospitals have been attacked with grenades.
And even journalists who were trying to tell the stories.
Journalists were attacked as well. So
Mr. Sven, we've been hearing a lot of condemnations from the EU.
Yeah.
The Israeli violations are increasing.
Yeah.
People here want action.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Well, first of all, it's the largest mission of diplomats I've seen covering all 5 continents under the chairmanship of the United Nations. And that in itself, and that only third day after the military invasion has ended. We still cannot go here everywhere because we may have unexploded ordnances here, and we have to be very careful. You could see here that people need to restore water, electricity and sewage. 9 kilometers of water and sewage lines have been destroyed. So the fact that we are here amidst a post-war zone proves to you our commitment. Now we as diplomats, we can only do 2 things. A, fact-finding and reporting to capitals that they take the necessary action, and B, expressing our solidarity with the population affected by these military actions of Israel, and hoping that a political message from our capitals goes to Israel and say, you have to abide by international law, and if you don't, you are facing consequences. And that is something only capitals can do. Diplomats can only report. So please bear with us that we cannot go beyond what we're doing here right now.
I will let you continue with your tour. Thank you so much, Mr. Sven, for your participation. And we've been talking to Palestinians who say that the level of destruction here in the refugee camp is nothing like they've seen in 20 years. They know that the Palestinian Authority does not have the resources and the money to restore the camp. They believe that the international community's interest is elsewhere now. So there's a lot of disappointment here, a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety. Nida Ibrahim, Al Jazeera, Jenin refugee camp, the occupied West Bank.